It is Tuesday, October the 16th, and this is The Drill. And thank you very much. This is Ron, your host, the only true conservative in the United States of America, because I'm the only one that makes the presumption for the status quo. So one of the places where, probably the place where you can see the left's cultural influence, the influence of what I call American counterculture, because the whole idea of Marxism is to undermine the culture of a given particular country and use the undermining of that to help promote Marxism and Marxist ideas and revolution, for that matter. But the place where you can see is most prevalent Marxist influences is American attitudes towards work and how they have changed. That decades ago, work was not just about getting a paycheck. It was about, it had a religious implications, and idle hands are the devil's workshop. It also had, there was certain psychological or psychophilosophical added implications about work, and that was to be productive, and that it is ennobling. Work is an ennobling thing. And now the attitude in America about work can be summed up in the bumper sticker that I'm sure everybody has seen that reads, "Work sucks, but I need the bucks." And it's supposed to be, I suppose, funny on one level, but funny would be if it said, "My job sucks, but I need the bucks." But saying work sucks is something completely different. What it's saying then is being productive sucks. It's further suggesting that the goal in life is to be idle. There's a fallacy that happiness comes from idleness and large amounts of leisure time. And that's a fallacy that's promoted by the left. Not because they really believe it, because remember, the left is always bluffing. Okay, so they pretend a lot of times. Same case here, because once you have any socialist system, you're still expected to work. You're just not expected to work for your own gains. You're expected to work for the gains and the benefit of society at large. So, but like I said, Americans have the work sucks, but I need the bucks. And so what do you end up having with that kind of an attitude is more of an emphasis on getting paid to do nothing. We have a lot of areas where we get paid to do nothing. Sick pay, okay, where you're out sick, but literally your company is still paying you. They're still giving you if you're an hourly employee making $10 an hour, you're still getting your $10 an hour, even though you're not at work and not productive. Vacation pay, same thing. You're out for the next 2 weeks, but guess what? The company is paying you. And you're not productive. You're not doing anything to help that company produce and be better. And you're not doing, ostensibly, assuming you're that when you're on vacation, you're just laying on a beach somewhere, you're not being productive and helping yourself either. Then there's the Family and Medical Leave Act. And then the big one, retirement. And the idea of retirement more and more is, again, idleness and large amounts of leisure time. So rather than doing more work, so to speak, being productive and doing things that are ennobling for you as an individual, the idea is for you to, again, lay around and do nothing, be as unproductive as possible. So, and I think that one of the ways to turn that around, one of the things that has to do that each individual can do is you're going to get those kinds of attitudes from the lefties that you know and run into each and every day. They're going to have the work sucks, but I need the bucks attitude, and you can counter that. You can say, I like to work. I like to be productive. One of the complaints that I hear about in terms of being productive is, wow, this year has gone by fast. How fast time goes by. They say, wow, it really, really goes by really fast. Oh, the weekend went by fast. The week went by fast. And why? If you're productive, you're doing something, and particularly if you're doing something you like to do, then you are going to find that time goes by really quick. You want it to go by slowly. There's a way to do that. Be idle. Get a rocking chair. Get out in the front porch. Get out there 6, 7 o'clock in the morning when the sun comes up, and sit in the rocking chair all day. And see how time slows down. It'll slow way down. It'd be like time was really nice and slow when you were a kid. Remember when your parents would ask you, told you had to wait for 5 minutes for something, or 10 minutes. Seemed like it was forever. Waited for an hour. You have a birthday. Gee, when can I have the next one? Next year. Next year? Oh, my God. That's eons away. And why? Because, especially before you go to school, you're not productive as a kid. You're just spending the whole day goofing off. So, but anyways, the point is that this is another demarcation between socialism and capitalism, right and left, is people's attitude towards work. You cannot say that you're a conservative if you have a work sucks, but I need the bucks mentality. Your job sucks, maybe, okay, that you can live with that, because you always change jobs. But if you have a work sucks, but I need the bucks attitude, you're not right. You're not conservative. You're left. So by simply changing your attitude and putting in check those people around you that exhibit that work sucks, but I need the bucks mentality, is a way that a person can be effective in spreading a conservative message, or just simply keeping in check socialist impulses. So when I come back, the next I'm going to read from the Ayn Rand lexicon, and it's going to be the common good. Thank you very much. Welcome back. And the Ayn Rand lexicon, full of juicy concepts, and today's concept is common good. The tribal notion of the common good is served as the moral justification of most social systems and of all tyrannies in history. The degree of a society's enslavement or freedom corresponded to the degree to which the tribal slogan was invoked or ignored. The common good, or the public interest, is an undefined and undefinable concept. There is no such entity as the tribe or the public. The tribe, or the public or society, is only a number of individual men. Nothing can be good for the tribe as such. Good and value pertain only to a living organism, to an individual living organism, not to disembodied aggregate of relationships, to a disembodied aggregate of relationships. The common good is a meaningless concept, unless taken literally, in which case its only possible meaning is the sum of the good of all the individual men involved. But in that case, the concept is meaningless as a moral criterion. It leaves open the question of what is the good of individual men and how does one determine it. It is not, however, in its literal meaning that the concept is generally used. It is accepted precisely for its elastic, undefinable, mystical character, which serves, not only as a moral guide, but as an escape from morality. Since the good is not applicable to the disembodied, it becomes a moral blank check for those who attempt to embody it. When the common good of a society is regarded as something apart from and superior to the individual good of its members, it means that the good of some men take precedence over the good of others, with those others consigned to the status of sacrificial animals. It is tacitly assumed in such cases that the common good means the good of the majority, as against the minority or the individual. Observe the significant fact that the assumption is tacit. Even the most collectivized mentalities seem to sense the impossibility of justifying it morally. But the good of the majority, too, is only a pretense and a delusion, since, in fact, the violation of an individual's rights means the abrogation of all rights. It delivers the helpless majority into the power of any gang that proclaims itself to be the voice of society, and proceeds to rule by means of physical force until deposed by another gang employing the same means. If one begins by defining the good of individual men, one will accept as proper only a society in which that good is achieved and achievable. But if one begins by accepting the common good as an axiom and regarding individual good as its possible but not necessary consequence, one ends up with such a gruesome absurdity as Soviet Russia, a country professedly dedicated to the common good, where, with the exception of a minuscule clique of rulers, the entire population has existed in subhuman misery for over 2 generations. Only on the basis of individual rights can any good, private or public, be defined and achieved. Only when each man is free to exist for his own sake, neither sacrificing others to himself nor being sacrificed to others, only then is every man free to work for himself by his own choice and by his own effort, or every man free to work for the greatest good he can achieve for himself by his own choice and by his own effort. And the sum total of such individual efforts is the only kind of general social good possible. So, on an abbreviated episode, this is going to bring us to the conclusion of another episode of The Drill, and I thank you for listening, and until next time, have a great day.